Welcome everyone, this is Acid Roots and I'm going to talk to you guys about Papa Roach's early singles. Now not every single one of these is a single, and some of these you might not know as well as others. But I did it with Slipknot and I had fun doing it, so I decided to do it again. So we are going to cover 7 songs this time. And it's going... these are songs that I listen to just about every single day. Papa Roach, it's been that way. And that's pretty much how it's going to continue. I'm still not bored with them, and as a whole they remain interesting. So, first song that I feel like almost every nu metal fan should know is the song Last Resort. Now this song did what not every single rock song is able to. It charted on the Billboard Hot 100, which a lot of rock songs do just fine on the rock and the alternative or the main airplay stations. So the fact that it charted on the biggest chart for music is pretty good. It is one of their most famous Papa Roach songs, Last Resort. It was also the first song they released to radio, just about. And so when the song came out, like in 1999 or so, I feel like folks were cresting off of the Korn songs, Limp Bizkit, Crazy Town, and Slipknot, of course, just a few other ones, Methods of Mayhem, that sort of stuff. But as it stood, there couldn't have been a better song to start off with. But I don't feel like a lot of folks have the problem that Papa Roach does. The song was so good that I think folks just got spoiled and could not find... And I'm not saying that there isn't a song as good as Last Resort, it's just that seems to be popular belief. You go on Spotify and that song has 100 million plays, but then the second and third singles have less than 15 million. So I do understand that kind of vernacular is really strange. It's a mega hot single. The song is about suicide. Really, Jacoby had a friend and dealt with it himself about feeling so unhappy that he was wanting to turn to different things to, and of course, it's a touchy subject. It's not something that you would think would be for the first single, but I'm kind of curious if audiences realized that from the get-go. Because it wasn't just, Jacoby was, in his 20s when the song came out, and probably early 20s, younger than 25. So, the thing about it was covering this, people who are 14, 16, and 21, that sort of age, it's curious if they're just focusing on the guitar, because I was up until not too long ago, maybe even today you could say. I mean, it's a huge song, but realizing that you can go nuts to the song, you can headbang to the song, you can just go crazy, and then you realize that it's got a serious subject. So it's definitely a hit. Whether or not folks knew that from the get-go or not, it still remains a great song. So that, I didn't really have as much thoughts to it. I mean, it just is something, it's an extra step to know that, folks are kind of concerned more than just having their glamorous life that is supposed when you're in the industry. So second single was Broken Home, and this continues the trend. You're basically going to see this with all of these songs. Broken Home continues the serious subject matter of this. It's got great guitars in it, and it's another song to jam to, but this one is about having parents that break up or have problems. Not really being a complete family or, ideal. So, with this, I listened to it, but I have not listened to this song as much as Last Resort or as much as Between Angels and Insects, but I do hear it from time to time. And thing is I prefer the song, but I guess there's really not a but to it. Yeah, I mean, it continues the streak of good ones, but it just did not match the success of Last Resort. But, you know, you have to, these are songs worth paying attention to. I don't think that you should just go over the subject, you know. It appears that Papa Roach is more substance than they let on. This is definitely good, you know. But I cannot put a finger on why these songs did not chart as high. You know, if you had to ask me, well, why didn't second, third, and fourth singles of Infest chart as high? And the problem with that is it's just kind of random. I mean, this was 16, 15 years ago that they were dealing with this. Yeah, I can't note that at this time. I'd probably just say I think it has something to do with the hook. Just the fact that, you know, with a rock song, it has to be something that people are going to say no matter where they are. You know, whether it be in a grocery store, at a gas station, at the dentist, you know, wherever they're thinking they can think about that and bring it up. And it just feels as if, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, it has to be all encompassing. But I'm not saying these songs aren't, but it just wasn't as effective as Last Resort. So next song is Between Angels and Insects, and this is a really good song. I've been listening to this one a lot, mainly because, you know, I want to get to the point of where it's not uncommon to bring, you know, there's nothing more fun than when you know someone and they are able to bring up songs that you both have in common. So this is definitely something. These are the type songs that strengthen friendships, is when you can find more than one thing in common. And I think doing that, Papa Roach, it's vital to them as much as it is to the community, just because, you know, we get bored so easily. That's the main thing, is we're quick to label people one-hit wonders, or not that great, or, you know, just okay, or nothing noteworthy, whatever you want to say. And the quickest way to silence these people is by proving, you know, strutting your stuff. So this is one of such songs that has the ability to do it. But once again, the hook was just, I mean, I guess I'm going to have to, you know, I listened to these songs today, but I can't really, I'm trying to get the hook in my head to see if it is as noteworthy. Yeah, I mean, it's the censored version is probably a little bit more presentable in that song. But, you know, of course, the song is about, you know, us being real materialistic. And the thing about being materialistic is, I don't really agree with this song, because, you know, we have to want something. I mean, if we didn't want anything, we wouldn't buy the CD and we wouldn't listen to the music that, you know, he was trying to present to us. So, I mean, that's kind of touchy, you know, that's really, but I do understand the difference between greed and just, you know, having a few things that you want. So it's up in the air. I mean, this is 3 for 3 as far as things that kind of let you know that they're not just buying clothes and buying cars and that sort of thing, but even if they do it, they're letting you know that that's not exactly the preferred thing. But I don't know. So this is just kind of strange, because it's kind of like, well, you know, rich people telling you that money isn't everything. I don't really think I need to hear that, but, you know, it's nice to hear it at least. So the next song is Dead Cell, and I am forgetting what this one is about. I'm gonna say Alright, furthermore, we have Dead Cell, which was the 4th single from Infest. And this one pretty much continued and finalized the run of Infest, which I suppose lasted into 2001 or more. The album came out in April 2000. So, you know, anytime an album comes out and you don't get the next album the next year, I think half of the thing that you have to do in order to keep your name in people's ears is to drop further singles. Now, the only problem with it is that is often the hardest part. You know, I've listened to music for however long, and so many people struggle with finding the second single, and it's always the most unpredictable thing, even in a rock forum. I don't know why that is. I don't know why folks only want to hear the one song, and then second, third single don't do well, but this happens continuously. It always does. It's just something that you hear, and so this, you know, Papa Roach had this problem somewhat. They definitely managed to do it again, but don't be fooled. You know, these are gorgeous songs, and you know, this run continues with Dead Cell. Now, this is not the one, I'm going to say this is not the song that I would start off with to familiarize with, but it's definitely a song that is, you know, still worth playing. You know, you can live without it, but it's not recommended. So that's kind of the thing. I mean, it didn't chart on any chart, so I don't know how many people specifically remember this song, but it's still good for an extra bit. So there's that. The song is about antisocial people and apathy, letting things go by that are not your concern, and not just general apathy. I agree with this song. I definitely would like to see less apathy and more, not necessarily concern, because you don't necessarily need therapeutic things, but more in terms of like, hey, you know, this is something that could help a person, and I don't want to get too personal, like trying to make like a rant or something, but more in the attitude of, if you would not have said this to me, my life might have been different. So that's the kind of attitude, and I feel like those are strong moments that are needed. And, you know, the fact that this is being put into a song, unfortunately this song didn't chart that well, but it's still worthwhile beyond just, hey, I'm buying cars and I am getting laid. So, but, you know, the further aspect, the next album that came out was Love, Hate, Tragedy, and that came out in summer of 2002. Luckily, Papa Roach did not have the problem of charting, so we can definitely say that they are not one-hit wonders. But the biggest issue with it is that as far as like you know, within the rock bubble, I definitely feel like Papa Roach continued to have songs, but every once in a while there are songs that break outside of that bubble that everyone knows, not just rock fans or people who listen to rock music. So not every rock song is able to do that. I definitely feel like rap is able to do this, but rock, it's kind of like, you know, if you listen to those stations, you're going to hear it, but for general people who are not tuned in, you know, that's kind of the thing. So understanding that, the album may not have won, but it won in terms of just good music. So She Loves Me Not is about his issues that he has with his wife, or problems that have come up and what he thinks about it. And this one's a little bit different because Jacoby is talking about, you know, more what he's going through. I mean, he kind of does it, but it seems more from like a perspective more than hands-on. So I didn't really zoom in on the lyrics this time, but that's what the song is about. And yeah, so that it's a good song. You know, I listened to it quite a bit. The next song is Time and Time Again, and this one to me appears that it's about not having, or you know, someone that you are breaking apart from because they keep doing things, as the chorus would state, time and time again you're doing things I don't like. It's not so much I agree with this song 100%, but it's kind of one of those songs where it's like, hey, you're screwing up, this is kind of a friendly warning, so we don't have to end things. You know, versus I will say that this sort of thing would never be covered in a rap song. You know, most of the time it's just like, you know, fuck it, I'm out of here. But, you know, hearing that and just realizing that, you know, these sorts of issues are coming up, to me, I just don't understand the issues that people are making. You know, we can say, well, is it drugs? Is it lies? Is it, you know, just behavior that's causing these things? You never know what the problems are, but I don't really feel like, you know, I don't want to get too personal in this, but, you know, coming from the perspective, I don't know, I'm just trying to say that, you know, making these sorts of songs is not always the answer. Just because, you know, there's always two sides to the story. We should hear it from the person with the behavior problems and what they think and that sort of thing. So that's just it, but there's an extra song in there. It might not even be specifically about that, but as it stands, I do listen to that song time to time, but I just haven't gotten around to it fully. The last song is the, you know, Love, Hate, Tragedy did not have 3 singles, but I think that this one was pretty popular, and if they would have had a 3rd single, this might have been a candidate. So this song is Born with Nothing, Die with Everything. And once again, we still have yet to hear a song by Papa Roach glamorizing the life that they lead. And, you know, it just stands to reason that this is moments here. So what the song is about is the fact that, you know, born with nothing, which means he didn't have anything in the beginning, people were not backing him, but he has everything now, and it's kind of like, you know, just an attitude as if you don't owe the world anything. This is yet another subject that a lot of people can probably relate to, and I definitely endorse it somewhat, just because, you know, this is a story that happens to almost every single person who comes up, as they're treated badly in the beginning until, you know, things start coming together for them. And any person who has to deal with that attitude, it's always the same question: what do you do? So this is definitely something to know. Whether or not the subject itself is tired, it still stands to reason that if it is tired, it's obviously not stale because people are still doing it. So that's about the only thing. It just so happens that, you know, we could use a song. What I'd like to see is, you know, obviously what the antidote is to something like this. That's kind of what I would want to know. What's the antidote to people kind of, you know, the Johnny-come-latelys out there, what you do about that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I think of those 7 songs. So pretty much all of these 7 I listen to a lot. And I recommend you do the same. But, you know, if you're like me and you didn't notice, like, Last Resort was about suicide. And, you know, some of these songs were about heavier subjects that might cause you to not jam as hard and ball out as hard as you'd like to. that, it's just something extra to note. But I don't think it's really going to change. I don't think it's really going to change my perspective that much. I mean, I enjoy the guitars so much in the songs that it's pretty much going to continue. So that's my take on those songs. If you are just new to Papa Roach and it's kind of like, well, what do I go to after Last Resort? I would go to Between Angels and Insects and She Loves Me Not.